and welcome to Muslims for Progressive Values. I am your host, Kendra Cordova, and today I have a lot of really big announcements and a really fun episode for you guys. You know me and my books. I have some great books to show you guys in fiction and nonfiction for progressive Islam, but two announcements first. So, first of all, huge announcement. I was recently asked to become the publisher for Muslims for Progressive Values publishing imprint. So I am now in contact with authors. I'm taking queries if you are a Muslim progressive author, either fiction, nonfiction, personal essays, or poetry. Please reach out to me at publisher@mpvusa.org. I'd love to hear what kind of books we have out there, because we're going to be putting this together. Half of those proceeds are going to be going towards Muslims for Progressive Values. So it's like your book is not only out there and has like the backing of an international nonprofit, but it also is basically donating part of your writing income to charity, giving that zakat back and helping with MPV overall. So we're really excited about it. Please reach out to me or share with any of your progressive Muslim friends. If any of them are authors, send them my way. The second announcement before I show you these great books is that Ani Zanavel, the president founder of Muslims for Progressive Values, has a new book that is coming out next week on July the 29th, and it's called An Unlikely Social Justice Warrior. So I have posts of that on all my socials. Please go, you can pre-order her book now. It's all about her journey as a feminist Muslim, and what that means to her, and it teaches you about all of those like social intersections, right, between Islam and her life, her experience, Islamic feminism, etc. So today I did want to share just a couple books with you guys, some of my favorites. Now I've shared a couple of these before, but some of them are new and I haven't shared them with you guys, and some of them are fiction. So I've got some fiction, some memoirs, and some just informational spiritual texts, things like that. So first, let's go ahead and start with the fiction ones. The first fiction book I don't have a copy of because I did an audiobook for him when I was going to and from work one time, and but it was really good. If you like young adult, especially like young adult like romance or young adult feminism and that kind of stuff, there's this wonderful book called Fatima Tate Takes the Cake. So it's about a teenager in high school who's about to graduate, and she wants to be a baker and she's really good at it. But, her family doesn't want her to do that. They're trying to do the arranged marriage thing. The guy ends up being, like, not great. You also have some queer representation there as well, as her best friend is a lesbian Muslim. So really there's just a lot going on that I think a lot of the viewers here can relate to and will find very interesting. It was a good read. The other ones here that I have for you guys that are fiction, I want to show some. Two more of them are going to be YA, and that's just because where I work during the day, my main job, I work with teenagers, so I've got some YAs for that. And then I also have an adult novel, and then, well, not adult novel, but you know what I mean, like it's a higher like general fiction type novel. And then I have a memoir as well before we go into some of the scholarly ones. So I got this one. I haven't read it all the way yet, but it's one of those ones that I pick up and then I like get busy with other stuff. But I do like the premise of all of this, right? You guys might have heard of it. It's called The Bad Muslim Discount. And it really focuses on like the intersections of like culture, immigration, and then like the battle and intersections between like faith, practice, and living in a place that isn't, like that. So like moving to the West, if you're from, a Muslim background, and trying to sort of navigate all of those things. It's also complex. Like we talk about that on here all the time, about how there are just so many factors at any given time. And this book really tries to explore those in the fiction. So I did save one of the quotes here that they use. They use quotes throughout the book. Like beginnings of sections and things like that for talking about like the themes of what we're going to talk about. And so there's this really great one here by Nani John, and it says, "A single piece by itself is predictable. It can only go in one direction. When two pieces come together, When one of your men leaves home and travels the length of the board to earn a crown and becomes a king, it becomes harder to know what will happen next. Experience, you see, can be lethal to certainty. So using the symbolism here of like chess, the idea that when we are in sort of like an isolated bubble and we're only hearing one narrative, one like this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is, and then you take yourself out of that, go have all of these experiences interacting with and learning and you know, going through the world, and now you have all of this experience and new things that have come to you and your worldview and all of this. Now things start to become a little less predictable because of that tomato of wisdom we're always talking about, right? Where, yes, this rule applies here, but now that there's this other complex part of it, how does it work? So if you want to like look at some of those things through fiction, The Bad Muslim Discount is one of those that does explore those themes. These two are from my school, so these are the kinds that my students read. So these are YA. So if you guys are interested in YA books, these ones are really cute. They're love stories. One of them is a little closer to a traditional love story, and then the other one is definitely more on the queer side of that. So this one I think came out like last year. This is 4 Eads and a Funeral. So, you know, you've got this like love-hate relationship thing going on. You have the culture and faith versus like, you know, that intersection there with like Western society. The Islamic center there catches fire, and it looks like the town was gonna like demolish it and not bother building it. So they have to like work together to, you know, find a way to get the mosque back. And then on top of that, you know, they talk about like the family pressures. So like one of them wants to be an artist, but his family wants him to be a doctor, that kind of stuff. So really it looks really good. This one just came out. I got this for my students. So 4 Eads and a Funeral is on my reading list. And then the other one that I saw a copy of this at the school. So this is also like a TBR that I found. It looks really interesting, especially given everything that's going on. So it's actually about a queer, like lesbian couple in Iran. So this is If You Could Be Mine. So if you're looking for like a Muslim queer romance of sorts that, you know, really focuses on those complexities, this one looks like it's going to be really good. I got one of these. So that looks really interesting to read. All right, so these nonfiction books are going to be the ones that I've gone through mostly already. A lot of those fiction ones are ones I just added to my TBR list. But this memoir, I see a lot of people talking about this one online too, so you guys have probably heard of it, but it's called Hijab, Butch Blues. And it's about, you know, a lesbian hijabi and her experience with trying to understand herself in the context of her faith. So that's a memoir. It's her real life, so that's really great. This one I have shared with you guys multiple times. It's one of my absolute favorites, which is The Spiritual Gems of Islam. I know a few of you have reached out to me saying you've got a copy of this book. I highly, highly, highly recommend it, because this one specifically just goes into the heart and the mind and the soul and the beautiful aspects of Islamic wisdom. It's really beautiful. Anything by Mustafa Akhil. I know I've talked about him before, but you guys might know him from Islam Without Extremes. But my favorite piece of his is actually Why as a Muslim I Defend Liberty. So this really talks about the whole intersection and belief in the freedom of choice, to go with sort of like that faith and how we are supposed to experience Islam for ourselves without putting it onto other people. So as someone who believes in social justice, like we do here on MPV, this one really goes into those details, and it goes into historical context as well, which is really great. Momin Yusuf's, I've shared this with you guys before, but this is Inside the Soul of Islam. That's another one where he was starting to lose his faith at one point when he was a teenager, and he had to sort of like reevaluate what Islam really meant, and go down that path. And it explains like his life and his what he learned from his family, what he learned from his experiences, and it really just goes into some of like the beauty and the constant presence of Allah in our lives, which was really, really great. If you guys are looking for more like personal essays and things like that are specifically about progressive Islam, you should pick up a copy of Progressive Muslims. This was put together by Omid Safi, and it's got just how many sections does it have in here? It's got a lot. It's got a lot by a lot of different authors. Yeah, there's like 14 different essays in here. By progressive Muslims from all over the world on all sorts of topics: Muslims, pluralisms and interfaith dialogue, sexual diversity, Islamic democracy, reclaiming the beauty in Islam, Islam, civilizational project in progress, on being a scholar of Islam, risks and responsibilities. Everything across the board about progressive Islam is here. Really, really great. We also have a book similar to that with Muslims for Progressive Values on progressive Islam. So you should check that one out too. And then the last few I have for you guys, here we go. So Journey Towards Gender Equality in Islam. This is really well written. I think I've brought this up once or twice when we were talking about some hijab stuff and like women's issues within Islam. But I saved a quote here for you guys that really just, again, brings home this progressive Islamic interpretation and perspective when it comes to secularism. So it says here, in order to be a Muslim by conviction and free choice, which is the only way one can be a Muslim, I need a secular state. By a secular state, I mean one that is neutral regarding religious doctrine, one that does not claim or pretend to enforce Sharia, the religious law of Islam, simply because compliance with Sharia cannot be coerced by fear of state institutions or faked to appease their officials. So that we can only come to Islam and practice it and embody it if we have the freedom to do so, is talked about in here, along with sort of all of the feminist viewpoints, gender equalities, and all of that. So I like all of that stuff. That quote wasn't from the author. That quote was actually from, who's it? It was Professor Naeem of Emory University Law School. So it brings in experts as well within this book to talk about those. It's really good. I like that one. And then this one is one that I recently was reading, and it is amazing because he really takes the time to like look at sort of these cultural issues that happen with sort of like the way Islam was meant to be as this freeing and liberation theology, and about humbling ourselves, and he really gets into that in detail. So it's called Being Muslim Today, Reclaiming the Faith from Orthodoxy and Islamophobia. So it does do this multiple critique of like the West and the issues there with culture and money and hypersexualization of women / fearing people who are different, right? And not liking Muslims and them turning us into caricatures. But then he also really goes into like being, raised in Islam and the issues within Orthodoxy. One of the sections he brought up that I really, really loved was where he talked about how when he went into a mosque and he saw Allah, like Allah's name, and then the Prophet Muhammad's name on the same wall in equal, like right next to each other in like equal text, size, and whatever. Like it was, so he talks about some of those issues where a lot of Muslim pockets in the world will turn into almost like a Christian way where, like Christians revere Jesus as like the Son of God or godlike. and that's one of the things in Islam that makes Islam so unique, right? Is that they're all prophets to us. Like, we believe that they do miracles and stuff through Allah, but that all of the prophets are prophets. They're human, so they're not gods or godlike. So making sure that we like focus on Allah, focus on God, and don't, create almost how do I say it? Like, we don't deify, right, people that aren't God. So yeah, he goes into a lot of it, and he talks about like reasoning, right, and just histories, and just how to live in the world today as a Muslim. It's really beautiful. I love it so much. It's great. So those are some of the books that I highly recommend. Take a look at those. Share me more books. So in the comments, tell me books that you guys love, whether they're fiction or nonfiction. Share those with me. And if you are an author, like I said, we are now going to be doing publishing. So I will put the email link in the description for you guys to share your books with me, your queries, your manuscripts. I'll take a look at them and see if that's one of the things we're looking for. And I really look forward to talking to all the authors out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, if you would like some more information on Muslims for Progressive Values, or you're looking for a great place to put that zakat money, MPV is a great place to do that. Go to mpvusa.org. I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Bye.